This is a story set on Earth. Hundreds of years into the future, global warming has melted the glaciers, sea levels have surged, and every single continent is completely submerged. Human civilization is basically extinct, with survivors scattered across junk-filled floating islands and rusted boats, scavenging the ruins of the old world just to stay alive. In this world, a handful of dirt is a luxury more precious than gold. Trees are long gone, and fresh water has to be filtered from the ocean, or even recycled from your own urine. The mariner is a lone wolf, born to conquer this endless sea. He pilots a high-tech, automated trimaran, drifting with the wind and answering to no one. One day, the mariner arrives at a man-made floating atoll to trade for supplies. They call it an island, but it is really just a floating slum made of hundreds of old ships welded together. By the time he arrives, trading hours are over, and the guards refuse to let him in for security reasons. But then, he pulls a small jar of dirt out of his bag. Suddenly, everyone's eyes go wide. The guards pull a complete 180, greeting him with huge smiles and treating him like a VIP.
Pure dirt.
In this world, dirt is the only currency that matters. The mariner sells the dirt for a premium and hits the only shop on the island for supplies. But the shelves are bare, just a few bottles of water and some rusted tools. As he is about to leave, the tribal elders show up with a group of enforcers to block his path. Turns out, their population is so small that inbreeding is destroying their genetics, and more babies are being born with defects. The elders want him to contribute his DNA to the island's women to save their bloodline, and they're willing to pay a fortune for it. But the mariner doesn't even blink before giving them a hard no.
You don't have anything. You're dying.
His refusal makes the elders suspicious. A man drifting alone at sea who isn't tempted by free women. Something is wrong. They suspect he is a spy for the pirates and order their men to take him down. But the mariner is a straight-up savage. He fights back instantly. But during the chaos, an accident reveals his ultimate secret. He has gills behind his ears. He is a mutant who can breathe underwater. To make matters worse, he accidentally kills a local during the brawl, and now the entire atoll wants him dead. Outnumbered and overwhelmed, the mariner is thrown into an iron cage to wait for his execution the next morning. Meanwhile, there is a shopkeeper named Helen who has adopted a little girl named Enola. Enola has a strange birthmark on her back that looks exactly like a map. When Helen found her as a baby, she was in a small basket with a pile of dirt next to her. Between the dirt and the map on her back, Helen is convinced the girl comes from Dryland, a place that was never submerged. On top of that, Enola loves to draw animals and trees that no one has ever seen. Everyone else thinks it is just a kid's imagination, but Helen believes these things are real and that Enola is the key to finding them. Word spreads fast, and a gang of brutal pirates called the Smokers have already heard the rumors. They remobilizing their fleet to crush the atoll and seize the girl to find the land. The next morning, the residents have no idea a crisis is coming. They're too busy putting the mariner on trial. He is sentenced to be recycled in a septic tank, a pit of acidic sludge that will dissolve a human being alive. As the cage slowly sinks toward the acid, the pirate army screams over the horizon. The Smokers roll in with jet skis, machine guns, and seaplanes. Way too much firepower for a small atoll to handle. Explosions are everywhere, and people are running for their lives. Helen's father panics and flies off in the only balloon ship, leaving his daughter and Enola behind, with nowhere to run. Helen sees the mariner's cage drop into the septic tank. She offers him a deal. She'll save his life, but he has to take her and the girl with him.
Sure.
The mariner agrees, and Helen breaks the lock just in time. The moment he hits the deck, he is like a beast unleashed, tearing through the pirates. He gets them onto his boat, and together they blast through the atoll's gates and hit the open water. To shake their tail, the mariner uses a harpoon to snag a pirate boat, tangling their propeller and sending them crashing into their own fleet. The pirates take over the atoll, but Enola is gone. The pirate leader, a one-eyed maniac, vows to tear the ocean apart until he finds that girl. The mariner, Helen, and Enola have escaped, but things aren't exactly easy. The boat is leaking, and they're running out of food. Helen asks him if he really knows where Dryland is. The mariner tells her it is at least a 12-day sail, and with their supplies, they'll never make it. His logical solution: throw the kid overboard. Helen is horrified and tries to convince him to let the girl stay, But the mariner is a realist. He doesn't believe in fairy tales or hope. And Enola is a handful. She steals his crayons and starts drawing all over his boat between a stubborn man, a protective mother, and a rebellious kid. The tension on the boat is at a breaking point. Meanwhile, the pirate plane has been scouting the ocean for Enola. They finally spot the boat and start raining down bullets. Helen thinks the mariner is about to ditch them, so she grabs a harpoon and nails the plane's engine. The rope snags the wing, and the plane drags the boat until it is about to fall apart. They manage to cut the line at the last second and stay afloat. After the dust settles, the mariner is so pissed that he cuts off Helen's hair, partly out of spite and partly to use as rope to fix the sails. Later, they run into a weird drifter. The guy pulls out a piece of paper from the old world and offers it in exchange for half an hour with Helen. To her shock, the mariner actually agrees. Helen grits her teeth and prepares to do what she has to for survival. But as the mariner looks at the paper, he realizes it is an ancient world map showing the location of a continent. But with no other useful info, he changes his mind instantly and kills the drifter before he can touch her. Even with a map, they are still starving. Luckily, the mariner was born for the water and knows how to survive alone. He dives into the deep and takes down a massive fish. Watching him work, Helen and Enola finally start to feel a strange sense of security. The ice between the three of them finally starts to melt. Eventually, they come across a floating trading post. Oil slicks the water, bodies are hanging from towers, and you can see jet skis hiding just beneath the surface. It is an obvious ambush. The mariner tries to turn around, but the pirates surround them. He realizes the pirates knew exactly where they'd be, which means there is something on his boat they retracking. Under the mariner's pressure, Helen finally spills the truth.
People say it's the way to Dryland.
Dryland's a myth!
But the mariner is still skeptical about Dryland. He takes Helen down 2,500 feet underwater to show her the truth. There, she sees a sunken city, skyscrapers, streets, and cars, all sleeping in the deep. Helen is absolutely speechless, but when they surface, their boat has been torched and Enola is gone. The pirates have them surrounded, but they are quick enough to dive back into the water and escape. Now they are stranded with no boat, no supplies, and a death sentence. Just when things look hopeless, the black smoke from the fire attracts Helen's father, who rescues them and takes them to a survivor base. He reveals he has been studying the tattoo on Enola's back and realized it is an ancient coordinate system. To solve the mystery, they have to get Enola back. The other survivors are too scared to fight. The mariner says nothing. He just packs his gear and heads out alone. He follows the oil trail left by the pirate jet skis straight to their hideout. A massive old oil tanker inside. The one-eyed leader is giving a pep talk, telling his crew that the girl is the key to everything. The pirates are hyped up and ready for blood. The mariner sneaks on board and stands over the fuel tank with a flare. He gives them two choices: hand over Enola, or he blows the whole ship to Kingdom Come. The pirates think he has the guts to go through with a suicide mission. The mariner doesn't argue. He just lets go of the flare. In the middle of the massive explosion, the mariner dives into the ship, dodging bullets to find Enola. He is like the Grim Reaper, unstoppable as bullets whiz past his head. The one-eyed leader tries to escape on a plane, but the mariner literally rips him out of the cockpit. He grabs Enola and a hot air balloon drops from the sky to pick them up. The leader grabs the rope and tries to climb up, but he gets kicked right back into the ocean. Even then, he doesn't give up, rallying his men for one last chase. Enola accidentally falls from the balloon and is seconds away from being captured. In a legendary leap of faith, the mariner ties a rope to his feet, jumps from the balloon, and catches her mid-air. They swing back to safety and fly away. The team is finally whole. Following the coordinates on Enola's back, they fly toward the horizon. After flying for who knows how long, a seagull lands on the balloon. A bird means land is near. Sure enough, mountain peaks appear in the distance. Dryland actually exists. They find a small cabin with two skeletons inside and a drawing on the table that matches Enola's tattoo. It is clear these were her parents. They tattooed the coordinates on her back and sent her out to sea, hoping someone would find her and bring her home. Unfortunately, the people at sea had devolved so much they didn't understand coordinates or ancient writing. If it wasn't for this series of miracles, the secret would have stayed buried forever. Everyone is celebrating, but the mariner knows he has to leave. He is a mutant with webbed feet. He belongs to the ocean, and the land isn't his home. He finds an old boat on the island and sets sail alone. He tell everyone he meets the truth. Dryland is real. In the final shot of the movie, the mariner stands on his boat, looking back at the peaks. Enola and Helen stand at the summit, watching his lone sail disappear into the distance, beneath their feet. A stone monument is engraved. 1953, South Canadian Everest expedition. The only sanctuary in the water world was the highest point on Earth all along, Mount Everest.